So in this lecture we'll continue on and we're going to talk about our 4 primary service management scenarios that we're going to cover in this course. And they are a simple service item. So this is when we are simply selling a service on a sales order. Could be a regular OR sales order, could be a debit memo. And we're just putting in a service line item in there to charge a customer for a service, which works perfectly fine. There is just no execution of that service. There's no functionality to manage the execution. There's no functionality to collect the costs. There's no functionality to bill based on time and materials. So it's simply just a flat rate kind of, you wash my car and charge me $10, or you did something for me one time, so charge me $10,000. Whatever it is, it's simple. The execution of the service is either not being managed or managed somewhere else. The profitability of the service is either not being managed or being managed outside the system. The next scenario is the service contract, and so that's where we get into more of our core CS functionality. That's where we create a contract with validity dates that covers a certain item. It's for a customer, and we typically have regular billings based off either time intervals or milestones, and then we have service contracts that are service orders that get associated with that service contract, and then everything's tied neatly together so we can see the profitability of the service and what's covered. So we'll take a look at that one in depth. And then the next scenario is in-house repair. So this is also known as depot repair. This is when your company is fixing stuff for a customer. So the customer usually sends their product in to a repair facility. You fix the product. You use service orders to track time and materials and whatnot. And then you return the product back to the customer. There's a lot of variations in there. There can be loaner products, there can be scrapping, there can be flat rate billing, there can be time and materials billing. So a lot of variations possible, but in a nutshell, it's in-house repair, just like it sounds. You're fixing stuff in your facility. Then finally, the cool one, super cool one is field service. So this is where you have technicians that go out in the field, out to customer locations, and they fix things or they maintain things. So they might go out to power plants and check the nuclear cores, or they might go out and install lasers, or they might do 100 million things, fix copiers. So field service, out in the field, using service orders and notifications possibly to manage, track, and bill services to the customer. So those are the big 4 scenarios we'll be covering in this class. As kind of a side note, these are some other variants on scenarios that you should be aware of, because they're kind of like subheadings for many of the same scenarios that we just talked about, and those are around pricing and billing variations. So we'll talk about things like fixed price. So that, for example of that would be a fixed price scenario is, I'm going to charge you $50,000 to paint your ship. So flat rate, fixed price, a fixed price, doesn't matter how much it costs me in paint, in labor, time to paint your ship, I'm just charging you $50,000, a fixed price. Then flat rate, sometimes I use those interchangeably, but more precisely, a flat rate is a flat rate per hour. So you may have many different types of skilled labor working on a service. So you may have electricians, plumbers, boilermakers, copier repairmen, whatever. So regardless of all these different types of labor, you're going to charge the customer just a flat hourly rate, in this case of $40 an hour. Even though you may be using a mix of, let's take electricians. You may have junior electricians that you pay $20 an hour, and you may have senior electricians that you pay $45 an hour. Regardless of who you use to do the work, you're going to just charge a flat $40 labor to the customer. Then you multiply that by the actual hours. Time and materials is a little bit different in that you do a markup on the costs. So, and there's even further scenarios on that, whether you're using a standard cost or somebody's actual pay rate. But to keep it simpler, time and materials, a markup on costs. So in this example, we're saying a 33% markup on labor and materials at cost. So that means the cost that is captured on our service order comes over into pricing and billing, and on the billing document, that cost of the labor gets marked up by 33%. Materials come over, they get charged to the customer at whatever cost they posted onto the service order for, the cost of the material. Then finally, another kind of billing scenario is on contracts, where the contract itself might cover all the maintenance. So for example, we might have an annual contract for maintenance for a customer, and we'll charge them $250,000 per year. We'll bill them monthly, and everything within the terms of that contract are covered. So you pay me $250K, and whenever you need anything, I send out repair technicians, they fix things, they maintain things, and everything's already covered. So those are some variants, and they can be found in many of the scenarios. So there's lots of different combinations, but though you should be aware of these because they're important, and they're important in the context of the business of service as well as the context of SAP and configuration and